Hello, welcome everybody. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes to make sure that everybody has signed into the webinar. So we'll just hold on a couple of more minutes if that's okay. Okay, I think we'll make a start now. So croeso pawb, welcome everybody to our latest virtual kidney conference, which has been brought to you as a collaboration between three leading kidney support charities. So Kidney Care UK, Kidney Wales and Popham Kidney Support. This webinar focusing on understanding and navigating the Patient Knows Best platform. And I'm pleased to say our guest speaker today is Dafydd James. He's the Regional Lead Renal Pharmacy Technician at Swansea Bay University Health Board. So croeso, Dafydd, welcome. So Dafydd is going to provide us with an introduction to Patient Knows Best, followed by a short demonstration of the platform. If you've got any questions, please use the question and answer facility and we'll endeavour to answer these questions following Dafydd's presentation. If we don't have time to answer the questions, we will publish these with answers as soon as possible after the webinar. So thanks very much, and now I'm going to hand over to Dafydd.
Lovely, thank you, Gail. Thank you for the introduction. So as Gail mentioned, my name's Dafydd. I'm the Regional Lead Pharmacy Technician in Swansea Bay University Health Board, and I've been given the opportunity to present and the Patient Knows Best platform, and just take us through a bit of a whistle-stop tour of how all of this came about, as well as the usability and functionality of the platform, just so that we can all get a little bit more familiar with how it all works. Before I forget, I'd like to say thank you for the Kidney Care UK, Kidney Wales and the Popham Kidney Support for inviting me this evening. I'd also like to extend my thanks out to Patient Knows Best and the UKKA, who I've been working closely with to bring Patient Knows Best to fruition, as well as the local renal teams and the support I've had from them to transition patients over and to get where we've got to today. So as Gail briefly mentioned, I've been working in renal for the last 8 years, and I've been involved in a number of significant projects, mainly enhancing pharmacy and digital services for patients as well as staff. I've recently been working together with the UK Kidney Association, or UKKA, formerly known as the Renal Association, as well as Patient Knows Best, as well as PatientView, to re-platform the national renal patient-facing system to ensure that the transition from one to the other has been as smooth as possible for patients who have previously been using PatientView, as well as bringing new patients on board as well to view their patient record online. I'm now working on engaging patients as well as staff, and working on additional functionality, or making more functions available on Patient Knows Best to make it a far better experience for patients and staff. So the burning question that I started off with, well, why do we have to move from PatientView to Patient Knows Best? So PatientView has been around for the last 20 or so years and has been a leader in a patient portal functionality. So over the years, the UK Kidney Association have been working closely with PatientView, delivering the service. They felt as time was moving on, they either had to invest significantly more money into bringing the PatientView platform up to appropriate levels, appropriate level of governance and modernization, and making sure that your health and data is in a secure is in a secure portal, or the other option was to look at other providers of patient health portals. So a decision was made by the UKKA to partner up with Patients Knows Best to be able to provide kidney patients with their data and to allow additional functionality down the line. So this decision was made back in 2020, and that it seems like a long way, a long time ago now. But they've been working closely with transferring all the historic data that was available on PatientView over to Patients Knows Best to make sure that patients are able to see their historic data, as well as receiving new data in after the transition. So there's been quite a bit of engagement with all the kidney centres to make sure that the transition has been smooth, and I can successfully say that it's been a successful transition from PatientView to Patients Knows Best. At the moment, PatientView is currently still open and operating. However, the data feed and patients being able to access PatientView will soon be switched off. So if you're still using PatientView at the moment and haven't transferred over to Patients Knows Best, I'd encourage you to do so sooner rather than later. But if you're having any problems or issues doing so, then we can please contact your local renal unit to help with the transition. So this, this slide just to say that Patients Knows Best will help to continue to see your data and until it's is switched off, and the UKKA is soon to receive release a data dashboard, which they have done over the last week or so, to allow the kidney centres to manage the data to be sent over to Patients Knows Best. Now, one of the questions is, do you have a PKB record? So if you have previously been a PatientView user and actively logging in, you will definitely have a PKB record. You will just need to claim that record. So an email will have been sent out to all PatientView patients with a new registration link to register for a PKB account. And this is a fairly straightforward process, and all of the data fields, so your demographics, your name, your date of birth, is all completed and filled in. And once you register using that form, you'll be able to log into PKB and see all the historic information and data. If for some reason that you access your record and you're not able to see any information on your account, then please contact your local renal team so that we can troubleshoot that to make sure that the information is flowing correctly from one system to another. If you're a kidney patient attending an outpatient appointment in Swansea Bay, you are likely to have to have a PKB record as part of Swansea Bay's business as usual process of creating a PKB account for you. Patients will need to activate their account or go and find their account. But to be able to do this appropriately, we're waiting on the ability to use the NHS login, which will soon be available for patients in Wales. So if you're a kidney patient in Swansea and you don't believe that you've already have an account, please speak to your renal team and provide us with your email address, and we can set that up for you. Many patients may be under different specialities that also use PKB. So PKB isn't specifically or solely used for renal patients. It's used across a number of specialities and different health sectors. So you may already have a PKB account, but if you want to see your kidney results appear in your record, please let your local renal unit know so that we can add you into the renal team. And just to reiterate again, if you're not sure whether you have a PKB account or would like to know more, please speak to your local team, and we will help get your account arranged and sorted. So just to give you a bit of an idea how many people we have registered, already registered and still to register for kidney patients in Wales, there were about 6,500 patients using PatientView at the point of switchover, and to date around 37% have registered for their PKB account, and we have another 63%, or just over 2,200 still to register to claim their account. So every time that you attend clinic, your clinicians, the staff should be now reminding you to claim your record or to be able to sign up initially. So we'll be driving that forward, and hopefully we'll get to more records being added, as well as more people registered to use Patients Knows Best. So here, so to be able to register for your account, I've dropped a couple of email addresses in here. We'll share this with you after the event. So if you don't manage to catch the email addresses here, but we are also working, as I said earlier, working on patients being able to access their PKB account using the NHS login. This will hopefully coincide with the new NHS Wales app, which is in its testing mode at the moment, and will soon become available pan Wales. That should make accessing PKB as well as the NHS Wales app simpler down the line. So using a single username and password for all your health needs then. So that's a bit of a background and of about what's happened, why it's happened, and how to register for your account. So I'm going to try now to navigate around the system and to see how you look for certain specific things, such as your blood results, your medication list, your care plans, and what we can do in Patients Knows Best. So to sign into Patients Knows Best, you need to navigate to my.patientsknowbest.com, and you'll be presented with a login screen. For patients who have already registered, they would have registered using their email address and a password, and you're able to log in. Or if you've already registered using an NHS login, which some patients already have, you can log in using the NHS login as well. So I'm now going to attempt to present this live rather than going through different slides, so just bear with me while I switch over. And hopefully you can see a different screen and not my PowerPoint. Yeah, lovely. So when you log into your Patients Knows Best account, you'll be greeted with a welcome sign. The welcome message may differ depending on which organisation registered you initially. So if the UKK has registered you initially, you'll see a note similar to this. If your account was registered by Swansea Bay or Cardiff, or North Wales, you may have slightly different messaging at the beginning. Just to draw your attention to, once you've done what you've needed to do in your account, please remember to log out, as you do have people may have access to your healthcare records. If you do have any questions or queries or need any assistance, there's a help button up here. And when you click the help button, it takes you through to a PKB manual, which is quite good at explaining how to navigate the system or how to get into the system as well. So such as getting started, how to register, how to get a record, through to the home page, etc. So it's a quite a good place to have a look at if you have any initial problems navigating the system, or if you're still having any problems or issues after looking at the help guide, please feel free to get in contact with your local renal team, and you'll be directed by one of those support colleagues then. Settings will show your own profile information, such as your first name, last name. You can add email addresses here as well. It'll record your NHS number and your home address, etc. I should have said this at the start. This is a fictitious patient, and this patient doesn't exist, so we're not looking at any real patient data. So going back to the home screen, you have a notification panel at the top just after the welcome message, and this will display any recent notifications for you. So if you've had a recent blood test done and the result has come through, it'll display the blood result for you here. There's been a recent update in the system to show the blood test result and not just say that you've got a hemoglobin result, for example. It'll tell you what the result is. Same for the RBC, WBC, etc. To see a graph of your hemoglobin result here, we can click on the View panel, and this will take you through to your hemoglobin results over a period of time. So we can see here, as this is a test patient, there's only one blood result available, and we can see what the test result is here. It provides a range of a hemoglobin range, what the range is, and hovering over it, it says that the range is between 114 and 150, and that's for that's to show you that whether your result is within range or not. The table at the key at the bottom here displays if it's a red icon, then it'll display as red as being out of range and not within the guidelines there. Scrolling down will show you the results and the laboratory test result number, etc., what date and time this was processed, and by which unit as well. As some patients may have results provided by more than one unit, and and under multiple specialities. Another useful functionality here, we can see that there are related blood results, so we may be looking at platelets or other hemoglobin results, etc. And this shows in a little bit more detail the blood results over a period of time. If we wanted to see this in a little bit more detail, again, we can click on the result and it'll take us through to the graph. So the graph is quite useful. It shows trends, and we can see this is from 2013 up until end of last year. But we can narrow those narrow that down if we just wanted to see a shorter period of time. Hovering over the result will display the result values, etc. But as we said previously, the results are also appear in a tabular view at the bottom here. To navigate back, we can either navigate back to our home screen, which we can do here, and we can look at more notifications. Other notifications that may appear are notes or a communication received from your clinician, where we can look where there's an opportunity to discuss results or message clinician or clinical teams. This functionality can be switched on and off depending on whether the local renal team has made it available or not. So we're currently in a testing period of this in Swansea, and to see how best to manage. So the teams in Swansea, there's a limited number of people that you can contact at the minute, but we're looking to expand that further down the line, and hopefully the renal units will follow suit. So to be able to send a message to a clinical team, there's a send message functionality at the top here. We can click that send message button and we can select who we want to send a message to then. So if you're under multiple teams, you may want to make sure that you're selecting the correct clinical team to send a message to. We can select the recipient here. We can add a subject title, and we can add a message into the body. If we wanted to attach any files, such as pictures or any documents, then there's an opportunity to add a file or a folder here, and choose what level of privacy. Most of the queries will come under general health, but if you feel that it needs to come under anything else, you can allocate the appropriate privacy settings, and then we can send the message off. There are also opportunities to discuss blood results if the messaging functionality is switched on. So we can decide to click on this result here, and we can discuss that specific result if we wanted to see it. To see a full list of your test results, you can click on the test option here. And this can take some time sometimes, but all the tests that you've had in the last year will show up in the table below. Now, this can be quite an extensive list of test results, but you can use the search functionality to search for any specific test result that you want to have a look at. The same with measurements and measurements. These measurements can be will be recorded by your renal team, but you can also add your own measurements onto the system. So if you're monitoring your weight, your height, or your blood pressure at home with the blood pressure monitor, then you can add these results in yourself. So by clicking on the results here, and you can add a measurement by selecting add a measurement. You select your date of when you're undertaking the measurement, and you can add the results at the bottom here, and hit save at that point then, and it'll be added to your measurements table. Now we are doing work undertaking work to see to get this information back into our clinical system, so then we're able to review your results remotely. But this is ongoing work, and when the functionality becomes available for you to use, we'll make patients aware of when that's ready to use. Now, there are some integrations in Swansea specifically that you'll be able to see some imaging results, but this functionality is not available across the board. So some elements are switched on and integrated, but some aren't. So we'll go back to the home page here again, and if we scroll further down, we'll look at the treatments page, and under the treatment page here we can look at care plans. Now, all renal patients should have a care plan called My Condition, and under My Condition you'll see a standardized form of your demographics, your action plan, as well as your primary diagnoses. If there are any allergies or adverse reactions recorded for you, as well as the medication lists, which are recorded by your renal team. Now, your medication list, some units will only record your medication supplied by renal teams, but other units may record the full list of your medications. This currently shows a summary, but we can go into your medications to look at the list fully. Now, if there's any change to your medication list, you can let us know by informing us, or you can also add medications to your medication list as well by clicking add medications here. So if you type the drug name, the dose and units, and add the frequency and any additional instructions and when it was started and stopped, then this can be added to your record. It's also worth mentioning this to your renal team if you're doing that at the moment, just to make sure that everybody's informed correctly. If we go back to the plans, we're currently working on other care plans to make the results and measurements available. We'll let you know when these are available in due course. But the idea behind it is to make sure that you're able to see your basic measurements and test results in a consolidated place, rather than having to go and look for them under the test results screen. There is a library function under the treatment, and your organization or your organizational team will add useful documents and links to resources that you will find useful to help support your renal journey or your kidney journey. So we're in the process of looking at what needs to be added and what resources will be useful for yourselves then. So let's go back to the home page here again. And finally, we're going to just show you events and messages. As I said, the events, the messaging functionality may not necessarily be switched on everywhere yet, but there's also some units may also have the opportunity to see clinical notes and letters shared by by your teams as well. So you may see information popping up in here that you're able to look at and discuss if you want to discuss it with your renal team then. So the sharing functionality is to show whether you'd like to share your record with any professionals, or if you're looking after a family member, so maybe an elderly relative or a younger relative, you're able to share your record directly with that person. That person will also need a Patients Knows Best account. But if you have any problems or issues or would like to use this functionality, please let the renal team know so we can assist you to set this up. Okay. So I'm just going to skip through the next couple of slides, as hopefully we've covered these in our virtual tour. Okay, good job I've done this. So when we're looking at blood results, and we need to find some more information about the blood results, there are external links available on PKB. So if we go back into the health treatment here and go into our test, and we have a look at the white WBC, the white blood cell count. And click on the graph. There's an opportunity to click on the link below here for common questions and test results guide, and this will take us to the lab test online, which will provide you some more information, etc., about that specific blood test result. We've gone through measurements, diagnoses, plans, medications, the library. And so this screen here it tells us about the concept of which teams are available for you on PKB, so which teams are looking after your care. So if you're a renal patient in Wales, you are likely to be under the UKKA, so the Renal Services and Research, National Wales Renal Service Team, and if you're under Swansea, you'll be under the Swansea Renal Service Team, as well as the Swansea Bay Patients Record Team. And the same if you're in Cardiff, you'll be under the Cardiff Renal Service Team, or North Wales, it'll be the North Wales Renal Service Team, and under the Patient Records Team and the respective health boards as well. Patients Knows Best are looking to create a new kidney PKB user group to help inform the direction of travel with forthcoming developments, etc. So it's and the date of the first meeting is yet to be decided. But as soon as I know when the first meeting is, I'll be sure to share this widely, because it's extremely useful for Patients Knows Best to know how to prioritize the workload with regards to the new developments and what needs to be developed with the kidney community to make the platform a better experience for kidney patients as well as all other patients as well. And I'm going to stop at this point to ask if there are any questions, and I'm sure there will be plenty of questions. So I'd like to take a break for a moment and see if there's any comments or questions available.
Oh, diolch yn fawr I ti, Dafydd. Thank you very much. That was really helpful. I mean, you're showing us the patient knows best by actually doing it was really helpful, I thought. So thank you for that. I'm just going to check the question and answer. I can't see any questions in there currently. So if anybody's got any questions now they want to ask Dafydd, we've got a couple of minutes. I'll give people a chance to pop some questions into the Q&A box, if that's okay. But just before we go, Dafydd, I just wanted to take the opportunity really to thank you. It's been fantastic. And I wanted to let everybody, oh, we got some questions coming through. So, so the first question then, Dafydd, is there an app for PKB, sorry?
Okay, so there is no official app for Patients Knows Best. It's a website by design. However, Patients Knows Best will be integrating into the they've already integrated into the NHS England app, but as I mentioned earlier, they are looking into integrating with the NHS Wales app, which is in its testing phase at the minute. So we're hoping that becomes a fully live system later on in the year, and I've got my ears to the ground to know when that's going to be. But it functions quite well as a website on a computer as well as mobile devices as well.
Thank you, Dafydd. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Please pop them into the Q&A. Oh, here's another one, Dav. They're coming through now fast. So to sign up to Patient Knows Best, I presume I need to discuss with our renal team in Morriston.
That's right. As I said, if you were previously a PatientView user with an email address on there, then you should have received an email with a registration link. But don't worry, if you haven't received that, please get in contact with our renal teams in Morriston or wherever you are, and we'll help you to get you signed up and logged into Patients Knows Best.
Thank you, Dafydd. I've got another question. I'm sorry I was slightly late, but has the timing of result availability been discussed? I was able to access my results the same evening of my clinic appointment with Renal PatientView, but Patient Knows Best is much slower. It's hugely frustrating. Okay.
This may be due to recently we've had a bit of a issue with blood results flowing through from the national systems into our renal system and then to PKB. Hopefully, as of earlier on this week, that should have now been resolved. But if you're having difficulty not being able to see your blood results, it feels as if my default answer seems to be, please contact your local renal team, and they should have access to your results, especially if you're looking out for something which is more urgent than that you need access to it more urgently. But as far as I'm aware, from earlier this week, that those issues should now have been resolved.
Thank you, Dafydd. And I have another question. Thanks a lot, Dafydd. Do you have any idea when the patient group may come online?
I'm still waiting. So we had earlier on in the year, or last year even, the professional user group. But speaking with Patients Knows Best recently, they're keen to get a patient user group up and running as soon as they can. So as soon as that becomes available, I'll try to make as many people aware as I can, and yeah, I'll advertise it as much through the opportunities that I've got then.
Okay, thank you, Dafydd. I've got another question. So the PatientView had clear recent blood test page, Patient Knows Best seems far more complicated, and the notification page doesn't show the results without clicking on each one. Can this be improved?
Yeah, so as I said earlier on, sorry, I'm just going to flick through the pages and hopefully show you the right page. So the notification, that's so there's been a recent update in that, I believe, over the last couple of weeks, if not a little bit longer, where they're actually showing and displaying the result of the most recent blood result as well. So rather than you needing to go into the actual test result. But if you wanted to see the trend over time, then you can click in to see the bigger graph. But PKB are aware of the need to make the view and the usability of the test results far better, far more user friendly. And my understanding is that they'll be using the same sort of tabular way that PatientView have been using. I'm not sure how long that will take, but I am aware that it does seem to be a priority for them. So as soon as I know anything with regards to the timelines, then there's an opportunity to let you know. But as an interim solution, they have put the most recent results available next to the date there.
Thank you, Dafydd. I can see we've got another 2 questions. I think we've got time to answer these. So the next one is then, do future appointments show on Patient Knows Best? I've tried accessing the tab and none were showing yet. I did have one scheduled. So
all units or all renal units or will have different integrations. So and as far as I'm aware, we haven't integrated the appointments scheduling within Patient Knows Best. And I'm not sure whether that's anywhere near being accessed at the minute. However, there are going to be functionalities within the NHS Wales app, which may include appointment functionality, but I'm not sure whether this will be across primary care, so in GP practices, as well as secondary care. So it's all about what the services and what the areas decide to switch on and switch off. Unfortunately, it's not a one size fits all. So some specialities or some organizations may decide not to switch on specific functions, which is a bit frustrating, because obviously we'd like to be able to manage as much as we can on the devices, especially if the functionality does seem to be available.
Thank you, Dafydd. And I've got one final question then. So thank you very much. Look forward to the patient group to help drive the group forward. Thank you for this interesting talk.
Lovely.
So if there are no final questions now, I just wanted to let everybody know that the recording of Dafydd's presentation, along with a summary of the conference, will be available on our website in a few days' time. So visit www.kidneypatientconference.wales. And on behalf of the whole team, I know we're finishing early. Unless anybody's got any final, I've got one final question. Let's have a look. It seems the results are far more complex and detailed than PatientView. This can be very overwhelming. Is there a way of excluding these on an individual basis, Daf?
I totally agree. There seems to be lots of information available on with regards to test results, and I believe it's a challenge to strike the right level here. As far as I'm aware at the moment, there's no way of only showing specific results or specific elements of the results. You'll see everything or nothing in that respect. But if you have any questions or queries with regards to the results that you are seeing, please speak to your local renal team or the specific area of the renal team, and we'll be able to provide you with more information on how to interpret the results in a way that helps you out as well. So and I mean, if anybody has any other questions or queries, please feel free to get in contact directly with myself or with the local renal team, and we'll be more than happy to help anybody through any part of the process, which including from registration, interpreting results, navigating the system, anything and everything we'll be able to help with.
I've got one final comment, Dafydd. There's a message on you just saying diolch yn fawr, Dafydd. Yeah, and I agree with that. Thank you. So just any other questions now before we finish? Any final questions?
If anybody has any other questions, please feel free to send them through, and we'll get back to you. Because I know I appreciate it can be quite difficult to take everything in. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to process what you need to do. But if the best thing for you to do, if you have access to already have access to Patients Knows Best, please feel free, give it a shot and see what you find good, what you find bad, and if you do need any help, to get in contact with us.
Thank you. And just a reminder that this will be available on www.kidneypatientconference.wales. Thank you for your time this evening, for your contributions, and nos da.
Thank you, diolch.